What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Peace of Mind podcast, where every episode is a lesson and we're never selective with our perception. And today we have a very deep and spiritual conversation. I've been wanting to talk about this for the past year or past years now, and I finally feel like I can finally, get the dirt off and really talk my talk. And I feel like the majority of people will want to say something like this in public, but they're too afraid to. So I guess I got to be that voice of reason. And, for disclaimer purposes, I do believe in the Most High. I do believe in God. It's just, I have a lot of questions, and we're just going to get right into it. So today's topic is natalism versus anti-natalism. So I'm going to just give you like the long story short, cut and dry what it is. Natalists believe that life itself is good, is beautiful. When you bring somebody into this world, they can make money, they can travel the world, you can create a legacy for your family, you can build a lineage, basically the positives in life. The anti-natalism perception is that if you bring somebody in this world, that they're going to suffer, they're going to endure life challenges, and that things are going to be very hard for them. I'm coming at you with the anti-natalist perspective. Ronnie's gonna come at you from the natalist side, and we just gonna get right into it. So how you feel about, being a natalist?
Well, first of all, I just want to say what's up to everybody. It's your boy Ronnie, aka King Koop. We got King Relly in the building. We don't have our brother King Sage here today. Praise up to him and his family and the situation he got going on. We're gonna hold it down anyway. I'm just here to talk this man off the ledge that he's on, because he's been talking about this for years. And obviously I'm going to be representing the natalist side today. And I really just want you to kind of start off with like how you kind of got this view, man. Because for me, having kids and just having a lineage, a legacy, that's a very natural thing. To me, I feel like most people in the world want that. It's billions of people in the world. So, that to me, that's the popular opinion. You have the unpopular opinion to me.
For me, why now I'm an anti-natalist, because just dealing with life, just seeing what, obviously what my family had to go through, what we had to endure, heartbreaks, dealing with, life's traumas that come with that. And, it could be a challenge at first, but obviously for me, I just learned early on that it's better to be safe than sorry, and to know certain truths early on, so that way when you get out here in the real world, you know how to move sharp, you know how to conduct yourself better, and people can't run up on you because you already have in the back of your mind of what to expect. Obviously I've been called crazy. Like I've had like a conversation with people, like with some close people in Florida too.
Members.
With some other family members, with other, people out here, and they just looked at me like, yo, like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I said, hey, ain't no wrong with me. It's just y'all can't think for yourselves, because you guys been too indoctrinated since day one to think that life is always peaches and cream, when it's not really like that.
So do you feel like you had like a rough upbringing, and you felt like maybe that coming up as a child, your family didn't necessarily prepare for you to be there, because y'all was in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Y'all were like,
my family, they grew up in Philly. So both my mother and my father, they both grew up in Philly, both grew up in North Philly. Moms grew up in Germantown, so that's like Northwest Philly. But they would tell me, the stories of being in Philadelphia and surviving Philadelphia. And I'm just looking at them like, okay, so y'all tell me this, but why would y'all want me here to possibly have to deal with stuff like that? But then they always talk back in like, oh, well, like it was part of God's plan, you have to trust God's word. Again, I believe in the Most High, but at the same time, it's like we have to be more realistic. And I think that's the downside. I mean, more so in the Black community, is that we don't look at things from a realistic standpoint. We kind of sweep it underneath the rug and just pretend that everything is just fine and dandy, when in actuality, it's not always what it seemed to be. And I've been to Philly, like, obviously, like, damn near every single summer when I was a kid. And then, like I said, earlier this year, and I said this in an episode where, I seen firsthand, like, a man, got poked in his arm by another man. And it's like, whoa. But it had to remind me, okay, I'm back in this city. That's just what it is. But, people can't handle certain realities. That's just what it comes down to. And it's okay, because obviously thinking this way isn't for everybody. It's just you have to find what works best for you and just live the best life you know how.
I mean, brother, I'm listening to your story, but like, to me, it just sounds like your expression, life is life. Like, I haven't heard anything too crazy that you said that's like, that defines why you shouldn't be here. Like, I feel like everybody is going to experience things in life that's not like you said, life's not peaches and cream. Everybody's going to have experiences about, people may witness murder. People may experience bullying coming up. People may experience poverty. But for me, being the optimist that I am, it's like, okay, am I going to succumb to those experiences, or am I going to let those experiences build the character that I have? And actually, to me, the more of those traumatic experiences that you have growing up, they build you up to be, in our case, better men.
Right.
Because, we were having a conversation off camera earlier, raising kids, you don't want to pacify your kids so much, and you don't want to provide for your kids so much that they're going to get ate up by the wolves. Your kids are going to have to fall off their bikes. They're going to have to go overcome that bully at school. They're going to have to get out and struggle to find that first job. They may be making a minimum wage first, but everybody starts from the bottom. You have to have that aspiration and that grind to rise to the top. But that doesn't mean that, like, it's not worth the effort. Right. To me, it's more, life is a game. It's more of a risk than about playing it safe. And to me, that anti-natalist view, I'm not going to bring kids into this world because the world is cold and all. That's just, it's just very pessimistic to me. It's too safe.
Is it? I'm gonna be blunt. Is it bullshit? Yes or no? Listen, we gonna go there. Is it bullshit or no?
I mean, I just don't see why. Like, I feel like, okay, so in ways that I can agree with you, I feel like, if you are, there's certain people that shouldn't be having kids. That's a fact. Like, if you ain't got nothing, if you ain't on nothing all day, if you on Section 8, ain't got no job, all this stuff, and you can't, it's kind of like, okay, we can only talk about being men because we are men. Like, if you can't do nothing for a woman, why are you going after a woman? So it's the same thing with kids. If you can't provide for your kids, then why are you out here trying to have kids? But that doesn't mean that same person can't change their life. Life is a journey. It's not a constant thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just, like I said earlier, it's just, you have to really find out who you are and what you stand for. And to me, and my ultimate solution, like I always say, a person can either play the game. You're right. Life is a game. And I play the game very well. And I love the game. But I tell people, yes, when you play the game, play it smart, but don't be, like, naive to certain harsh realities. So you can either play the game, or you could, for YouTube's sake, you can, transition to the next life. You could, exit if you want to. And I'm gonna get on that. So there's this thing, it's euthanasia. So euthanasia is the process where you can have a medical peaceful death. They can stick you either with a needle, or they can put you inside of like a pod. The first ever the euthanasia pod was made in Switzerland like not too long ago. And Switzerland is legal there. It's legal in Belgium. It's legal in Portugal. It's legal in Spain. And it's also, well, it's not legal. No. They don't have the pods yet in Canada, but in Canada, euthanasia is legal because they say, okay, if you have a mental disability, a physical disability, or if you're in a vegetative state, then you can have a peaceful death. And obviously, it caused a lot of, a lot of controversy because it's like, yo, like who, like that? Why would you even say that? a person should go because they want to go. It's like, no, like you should have that right as a human being to do whatever it is you want to do. It doesn't matter my religious belief system or like what I believe is right. No, you as a grown man or as a grown woman should have a right to pick, your fate and your destiny.
Okay, so like, what do you say to the people that say that that's giving up? You know what I'm saying? Because I could have depression, I could be down in the dumps for 6 months, a year, 2 years, but like I said earlier, life is a journey.
Right.
Like I'm not going to be in that same mind state forever. And if it's like if I go, life is just kicking my tail so bad that I'm about to go get euthanized, then I done potentially missed out on like so much experience in life, what life has to offer. What do you say to the people that's giving up?
I mean, like I always say, it's just you gotta find it deep inside of your soul, because I don't have an answer for that. Like that's a person, like a man in a mirror type of situation where it's like you have to really say, okay, I'm meant for something greater than myself to not, do this. But if I want to go, I should have that right to go in the peaceful way. So I don't have an answer for that. It's just that person has to take that journey themselves. It's kind of like I can lead you to water, but I can't make you drink it. Like it's really on you. Like internally, it's really up to you. Like I can give you the Bible verses. I can give you every single thing, every resource, every psychiatrist, every doctor, but it's on you to take that action.
Oh man, bro, like I'm gonna just say, like, life is so precious. Like I feel like we're kind of taken away from the beauty and the just amount of how much precious life is. Like, my uncle just passed in October. My uncle was only here for 44 years. So it's like, my uncle was one of those types of men that like I really looked up to him. He lived his life a certain way. He was the center of his family. He could do everything for his family. He changed my cousin's brakes, changed their oil. I learned a lot of stuff from him, even though he wasn't my blood. He was married into the family. But it's like in that short 44 years that he was here, ultimately looking on it, that was a short amount of time. But since then, he was able to be on this earth and had 3 kids. He moved down from New York, found a wife in North Carolina, started a beautiful family. And now that he's gone, we're filled with a bunch of precious memories and lessons that he taught me. So I can't say that, like, even though he was only here for 44 years, which is a short amount of time, but I feel like he should have been here longer. I can't say that I felt like his life was a waste, and that's the thing about life. Like, no matter how long you on this earth, I could have an 8-year-old child that passes. That life affects me in a certain way, and it's going to affect, the mother, the sister, the father. Like, each individual affects the planet in a certain way. There are people that, it goes both ways. You got serial killers, you got rapists, you got criminals, but then you got, the geniuses. You got the President Obamas, you got the the Denzel Washingtons, you got us, So every person on this earth is a gamble. My family tree started with Badgie. That was my great grandfather's name. Badgie and Mary Alexander. They had 14 kids. So I got 14 great aunts and uncles. And like, there's so many of us cousins, we all different in so many ways, Life is life.
Yeah, bro. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna pull up my notes here that I did some other research. That support. These are verses, and then obviously other lyrics that support anti-Natism. Okay, so here we got, it states in Ecclesiastics right here. It says Ecclesiastes 4:2-3. If that's how they pronounce it, it says, "And I thought the dead who have already died more fortunate than the living who are still alive, but better than both is one who has not yet been and has seen the evil deeds that are done under the sun." That's one verse. Second verse, Matthew 26:24. "The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born." And then the last verse I have It's Job 3:16. Or as in hidden untimely birth, I had not been as infants which never saw light. So essentially, what God is like saying in these verses is that, ultimately, like when you bring somebody here, that person is gonna suffer in somehow, some way with the human experience. And then also, yeah, it's just really, like you said, it's a journey. And I think that those individuals or people have to still find it deep within themselves to get themselves through in every way and know how. That's why I don't judge people for like what they do. If a person has to be a Christian out, like a super Christian or a super Muslim or a super Buddha to get them through, then that's what they have to do. Like I'm never gonna judge that, because that's how they're able to survive life. That's how they're able to get through their day to day. And I also have some other lyrics too from some of our favorite rappers. They said the same thing in relation to anti-natalism. 50 Cent said in his album Get Rich or Die Trying, in the Many Man Wish Death, he said, death gotta be easy because life is hard. Leave you physically and emotionally scarred. J. Cole said, and Born Sinner, run away. When it's all said and done, everybody dies. In this life, ain't no happy endings, only pure beginnings, followed by years of winning and fake repentance. Nas said in Lost Tapes, Purple, in the song Purple, life is like a jungle, black. It's like the habitat of Tarzan. Matter of fact, it's harder than most can imagine. And lastly, from Mobb Deep, they said in Survival of the Fittest, it's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. You can run, but you can't hide forever. So still, to prove my point is that, obviously, when you bring somebody here, it's gonna be some shit. That's just what it is. It's just the way that we go about it. Now, me, again, I'm anti-natalist, but I'm not like the super, like, nah, like, I see what's going on, but I deal with it in my way. And then you got some other people, I ain't gonna say his name. Shout out to you. You know exactly who you are. You got his way. His way is just more so like, nah, this is what it is. Like, you ain't gonna tell me nothing. Okay, I mean, that's cool. So you got your way, I got my way. It's just like any other religion. Like, you got, obviously Christians, but you got Protestant, Baptist, Catholicism, evangelical journalism. Like, it's different sections of that people follow to get them through.
Oh man, so like, do you believe that we in hell on earth or heaven on earth?
We're in hell on earth.
Right. So yes. That just means that
That's
all those quotes are saying. They're saying that like once you die, you don't have to worry about this struggle and stuff anymore. But like, you got to work towards that. Like, you're not just gonna be here living peaceful, blissful. Like, life is daisies and cupcakes. Like, that's life. You know what I'm saying? You have to go through these experiences, and then when you die, that's why they call it rest in peace. Because then when you die, you get a break from all of that stuff. And I think that's what all the quotes you just read is saying. I got something that I wanted to say too. Just a thought that I have about like birth. I feel like birth is it almost like marks a symbol of initiation as well as completion, because they say that like when you orgasm, like a piece of you is coming from your body. Some people say a little bit of you dies and stuff like that. But then you also got like a lot of times when people die, a baby is born shortly after. Like, life is kind of weird like that. But I think that like, that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, it marks, for some people, that may be the only thing that they strive for in life, as weird as that sounds. So it's like, once you have that child, that life is done, even though that, they're living on through that person. And like, even with animals, like I was doing some research on it. Some animals are called simiparous, which means they die shortly after reproduction. So you got certain salmon and stuff that like once they reproduce, they're done. It's a marsupial, mouse-like marsupial called a coluta. Once they reproduce, they die. Black widows, the female eats the male once they're done. So it's like, I just thought that was interesting to bring up that connection with completion and initiation with birth. But it also is like, well, if life is so hard, why do so many people risk, having kids and having progeny and legacies on earth? Like, why do you think that is if life is just so hard and it's like we just in hell on earth?
Because it's the biological nature. Like I said, all out the camera.
Yeah.
For me, it's a possibility. I say all this anti-Natism shit like right now, but who knows? Like in the next years or so, I might get a little Jarrell or a little girl. But it's just we as human beings have that itch still. You can't defeat it. Like you're gonna wanna, reproduce somehow, some way. So it's just, everybody has that whiff inside of them to keep that side of themselves going, despite knowing how things are. In which, obviously you said, well, if life is hard, why don't you just get out the way? Still, it's not that simple. I had a homie of mine's, like I rest his soul. I ain't gonna say his name, but God rest his soul. But back in 2020, he committed suicide. And I tried to tell him, like, I said, hey man, like, the path you're going down, it's kind of like, it's just a little bit too dark. And he was like, man, nigga, fuck God. Da 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 da. No, and this is why the black community is just so fucking stupid because niggas don't want to see that. I said, hey, I too much, right? Like the phone's there, but this is just too much for me. And then his mother called me and then she was like, yeah, unfortunately, my son, like he did what he did. But in her tone, it was kind of like she knew he was going to do it. Yeah, like she already knew he was going to do it. She didn't know when, but she knew he was going to do it. But she was telling me like, hey, make sure I live my life for myself and I made myself happy because again, no one else is going to like find that deep happiness inside myself. But to his case, I think, and he said, bro, like I signed my death certificate a long time ago. And I said, wow. I said, okay. If again, I'm not your father. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and then tell you what you should or shouldn't do because that's the you thing. But if you're gonna do all that, just consider who's gonna be hurt by your decision. That could be your family, your father, your mother, your grandmas, your great grandmas, your aunties, your cousins, your nieces, your sisters. So yeah, just consider about. Like when you consider doing that stuff, just really think about every single aspect when you do it.
So you consider yourself an anti-natalist, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a see. It's different kinds of natalists, right? I'm the positive anti-natalism. Well, the positive anti-natalism where it's like okay, like.
So what do you stand for though in saying that though? Like, what is your belief that you want to stand on by saying I'm a positive anti-natalist?
A person that doesn't want to have kids, and I'm still going to live a happy life. Like life doesn't have to be, like all, dark and whatnot. It's just a mindset about, about what you want. Like you can be an anti-natalist and still live your life, still get money, travel the world, build your business, or you can be another anti-natalist where it's like, man, like it's just no point. Like I don't want to do it no more.
So you're an anti-natalist that doesn't want to have kids, but you want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
You think that you can enjoy life, or life is just so dark and gloomy that?
Yeah, like you can still enjoy life, bro. Like it's.
So why not have kids?
Because you don't need to have kids to have a purpose. Like you don't need to do all that to make your life good. And I think that's another problem that we have in society is that we live in a codependent society where it's like, oh, like I need somebody there. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need them. It's like, no, like you gotta like have that self-love, like that deep self-love inside of yourself because when you depend on somebody else for that validation and then like when they Lord behold, when they leave and whatnot, it's like, like my heart is broken because why? You didn't love yourself enough or you didn't get close with God enough to say, okay, like I'm okay if they transition to the next life or I'm okay if that breakup happened because why? I got right with God and I know who I am. But it's just we as a society have to learn how to be more codependent, and then to depend on ourselves to get things done. Again, I'm not saying to be all lonely, because you are right. You know, we do need each other to keep things going, but at the same time, it's like you got to take care of yourself first, because no one out here is going to do it for you, especially as a man. So you got to hold yourself down, love yourself first, and take care of your temple, and then help along with everybody else. Because oftentimes, like, the whole world wants, the man to do every single thing, and we don't get shit behind it. Like, we got to do everything, and we get the shitty end of the stick. Like, who gonna be there for us when we're down and our mental health is bad? No one. It's like, oh, well, you're just a man. You just gotta suck it up, buttercup, and just learn how to deal with it.
But that's, of course, we need the self-love. But, bro, like, for me personally, like, I have had about my struggle with depression. Like, I say 2021, as soon as I graduated from college, I got acclimated to living with people, whether it's dorm mates, roommates, and stuff like that. But that was the first time I had my first apartment. And this was during the time COVID was going on. So, bro, I was literally just going to work and then coming home and just sitting there. Like, I couldn't go out. Everything was shut down. So it was like, for me, I felt how lonely we can truly get by ourselves. And I can say that, like, there are some people like that, I guess. Some people that just want to be alone in this world, but I can't exist in this world just by myself. Like, the need to congregate with family, with friends, all that stuff is very natural to me and to a lot of people. And that's the whole idea behind family. You know what I'm saying? The idea is to go, ideally, a lot of us are accidental births. Ideally is to go out and find somebody that, is your best friend first, and that you can, see yourself planning a family with, and then y'all bring kids in there. But I can tell you, bro, like, there's that whole expression about, like, a house is not a home without a woman. Like, that's something, there's some magic to that, truly. Like, when you have certain dynamics in houses, it adds more character. I had like an empty house. My house had no soul, no type of character to it. And at that time, I really wanted children. Like, I was like, bro, like, I feel like a kid would really give me some sense of purpose now, because for me personally, I felt like I needed some sense of, like, responsibility. I needed some sense of, like, okay, if I'm not doing anything, then I want to instill my light and put all my passions to making sure something that come from me can have the best life possible.
Interesting. That's a good way to look at it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that. It's like that for a lot of people too. I mean, that's not the most healthiest way to think about it, because you shouldn't be looking externally for the happiness. Like you said, the self-love should come first. But then it's like you were talking about the whole, men and black men and mental health, and nobody's there for you. That's what your family is for, bro. If you ain't got no family, then you got to deal with that stuff yourself.
Well, do you have any more points about, about the natalists and the anti-natalism route? Because, like, we've been talking about this shit for, like, a long time, y'all.
Since high school.
Yeah, since high school. Like, we had these type of deep conversations, like, back then, like, back in, like, 2013, 2014, around that time period. And then to come into fruition now, it's like, wow, like, it's actually, like, here. Because obviously, when I still, talk to people, and I said this earlier, like, they all look at me like, yo, like, it's like, why would you even, like, consider that? And then once again, I look at them as, well, like, y'all can't think for yourselves. So, like, you allow society to dictate how your brain should be.
But I don't think that's society. I just think that's nature. Like, even like looking at, like, the animal kingdom, it's nature. It's natural to go out and mate and have kids. Like, that's just what we supposed to do.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, we're not looking at, the downfall of that. Like, obviously, and I have it inside my notes too, like my other notes too, like right here. I said, all right, so whose fault is it in the end? And I said, it's us human beings. Granted, we are some smart, brilliant motherfuckers in this world. Yes, like, we do create innovative stuff. Hell, we create the iPhone. We create the Nike. We create Adidas, Puma, Versace, Creed, all these colognes, all these buildings, but at the same time, it's like we don't see that we are our own self destruction. You know, obviously McDonald's, like yes, niggas love McDonald's, but guess what? Like, you know, they're selling you the poison. It's the same way with CVS and Walgreens. Like they're illegal drug dealers. They're pharmacists. Yes, they're gonna give you some painkillers, some Adderall, some, you know, all these medications, but at the same time, it's man made. It's gonna fuck you up.
Harmful
Right.
chemicals and stuff in there.
So
that's on the back end that you're not really seeing.
right. So I think, you know, obviously deep down, and I understand this too, we can't really change shit, but what we can do is balance things out. Because too much of anything is bad for you. Like too much water, you could drown. Drinking too much, eating too much oranges, that's very high on your vitamin C. So we gotta have that balance. Like you said earlier, you know, we got to have that balance out here. You know, can't be too much of anything.
Well, I just gotta be honest, bro. Like,
go ahead, spill.
I gotta be honest and I gotta be blunt, bro. I think the anti-natalist argument is a weak argument.
Okay.
Cause you ain't really gave me nothing to change my mind. To be honest, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm gonna say
and like what's for the natalist side.
Oh, this is what I'm gonna say though.
Because you know what the natalists do? Like natalists say, well, you know, that's just life. You know, you just gotta, just get over it. That's just how things are. It's like, okay, but that, like, how does that change? Like, and they say all the time, oh well,
it changes naturally. You
know,
the next day, tomorrow is a new day.
Oh well, baby boy, like all you gotta do is just, you know, pray and ask God. Okay, again, I do believe in the Most High. I sure do, but that doesn't, like, how is that giving me an answer?
It's telling you I've lived longer than you and I experienced more life than you, and what you're going through right now is temporary.
You don't
so
have
what
to.
You're stressing over, it's not even gonna matter next week. That's what it's telling you. But I'm gonna say this: the devil's advocate argument that I will give to you is the argument of overpopulation. Yes. I think that we definitely have an overpopulation right now.
It's a lot of motherfuckers in this world.
And that is the only kind of like grace I can give the whole anti-natalist argument, because it's like, well, you know, eventually I think that we're going to get to capacity on this planet, and it's like, we got to figure something out, you know, and I know they're looking at like Mars and like all these other planets and stuff right now, but like that is something that we got to address.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think China has like the most population, like the most population in the world.
Well, it's actually India though.
In India, okay.
India is overtaking China.
Like,
but that's crazy because like I was doing research on that too, and like we really don't have, most of the world doesn't have an overpopulation problem. It's really China and India. Like I think both of them are like around 1.3 and 1.4 billion. But then like when you look at the rest of the world, they are like at 278 million is, I think, with the US, we're like the third most populous country. So it's like India, China, US, and then it's like a huge drop from there, like 100-something million below that. Mm. So it's not even really like a big overpopulation. And that's the crazy thing. Like we talk about overpopulation here in like New York, and like we got so many people and all this stuff, but it's like we really don't. It's really just those two countries, you know, and that needs to be a conversation in China and India, which they already are doing, because I think China has like a two-child maximum policy that they do. But like you gotta realize, like those countries are ancient. They've been around for like millions of years. Mm. Well, thousands of years.
Well, I'll say this argument point. The more people we have, like if we continue to breed more human beings, the more shit's gonna get fucked up. The more things is gonna happen.
More stuff can get fixed though. I say you looking at the glass half empty, I'm looking at it half full. Because I think that although you could birth somebody into this world that's a fiend, you could birth the next freaking Jesse Jackson, or you know, some big leader that could finally rise up and lead a group of people that we haven't seen in 50 years. Mm.
Mm. Interesting. I guess in conclusion, you know, you guys, is just to kind of circle back to everything, is just, and I mean this shit, find deeply inside of yourself of what keeps you going in this life. Because ultimately it is your decision of what you got to do, and you got to decide this life for yourself. Because at the end of the day, this is your life to live. I'm not here to try to change your mindset. I'm just here just to challenge the way that you see reality, and then and to challenge ourselves and not get eaten up by the wolves out here, because I really care about y'all.
All right, y'all. So that's been the natalist versus anti-natalist debate. Like I said, my man's really ain't gave me nothing that changed my mind here. But I definitely love to know what y'all liked in the comments, where you stand on the whole argument. Are you for children, or for you against bringing children into this cold, gloomy, dark world?
Don't bring them here. I don't care what this nigga talk about. Don't bring them here, man.
Bro, it's like the last final point that I'll say on this is like, you just have to be smart and be aware of what the actions that you're doing, and the environment that you bring your kids into. Like, if you got a girl that you with and she crazy, she toxic, you're gonna have a crazy toxic baby mama. Don't have that type of situation, because it's only gonna make it worse for the child and for you, and you can be at the paying child support. You don't want nothing like that.
That's more pain. That's more suffering. So it's like, damn, like that's like having bricks on bricks, But
ultimately, bro, it's like, I'm for having children. I think it's a very natural thing. The Bible says, "Be fruitful and multiply." Mm-hmm. I think that's what we're supposed to do here on this earth. You just got to be smart and be responsible about it. You want to make sure that you're bringing your child to the best possible environment that you can. What was your final say on your argument as an anti-natalist?
As an anti-natalist, I'll say, live life, but don't be naive. Kind of like, to add on to what he's saying, yes, go out here, get your money, build your business, travel the world, but don't be, ignorant to certain harsh realities, because they do exist. You can follow me on Instagram at King Relly 05 and other social medias. Yeah.
Well, y'all, it's your boy Ronnie, aka King Koop. Y'all follow me at IG _ King Koop. Follow the podcast page on Instagram, Peace of Mind 888.
And we'll see y'all in the next episode.